that's good. Will be something that we maybe into the introduction again. Probably not at this moment, just because maybe more food.
Because I wanted to have a little bit of fun. I was cast.
Welcome back to the channel, everybody. So as you can see, and how you could tell from the introduction, is I've got the Pagulayan Cues Tallmade Suitcase in front of me. So I'm going to be doing a review. Pagulayan Cues sent this suitcase to me for free. Okay, I'm going to be giving you an unbiased review on the suitcase. I have no ties with Pagulayan Cues. That being said, really in my reviews, all I do is just point out the things that I see and I ask questions. A lot of times I don't have the answers, okay? But hopefully Pagulayan Cues can watch this video and maybe they see some things that maybe they didn't when they designed it, and maybe in the next iteration they can improve on it, or maybe they say to themselves, yeah, we're just gonna stick to what we just did here because it's fine, right? But in any event, let's get at her. So first of all, this is a hard case. So the funny thing about this case is, and my wife was actually the first to bring it up. She walked in the door and she started touching it. This is a hard case, but she said, well, why is it so flexible? And I never really, it never stood out to me, but then I started squeezing it, and yeah, I think you'd be surprised at the flex of this material. This case is 9 pounds, okay, 9 pounds. And that's important. Why is that important? Well, numbers are important in this industry, I guess. Airlines, it's funny, I fly drones, right? And it seems like all over the world, this magic 152 grams number comes up, right? If it's lighter than 150 grams, it's considered basically a toy. You don't even have to have a license, at least here in Canada, right? As soon as it's 1 gram, even if it's just exactly 150 grams, whoa, now you have a whole swath full of regulations. Well, in the airline industry, they've got a couple magic numbers. They've got 62 and 50, okay? 62 linear inches is basically the height, the width, and the depth added together. If you are that number or under, it's fine, right? You're not gonna get charged extra. Okay, if it's over 50 pounds, you're going to get charged extra as well. That's the other, okay? The 62 and the 50. The 50 is the weight. You want to be under 50 pounds or else they're going to charge you big time. Or it's the linear inches. So what Pagulayan Cues has done is relatively smart. So I got the numbers in front of me here on my piece of paper, and this is listed on the website. 39.5 length, 13 width, and 9.5 depth, okay? And I have measured these things. I'm just gonna quickly do it again. under, well, it looks more 9 inches and then 9.5. So we're good there. This, well, it looks wider even on the front here. I don't think it is. I'm just seeing the bulge here. It is under 13. They've done a good job. They've done a good job in not overestimating or pushing the limits here. And also the length includes the wheels. So they're saying 39.5 inches. If I go from the top, take it to the bottom of the wheel, to me, it's coming at 39 inches, right? So it looks like they've given half an inch leeway on all these measurements just to make sure that it is below the 62 linear inches. So thank you, Pagulayan Cues, because what I would do going through an airline is I would have a screenshot of that on the website. And if some smarty pants at the ticket counters or wherever they are at the airport, they start giving you a rough time, show them the screenshot and feel comfortable. Grab a tape. We're good to go. Okay, so Pagulayan Cues did not mess that up. 9 pounds. Why is that important? Well, this is a cue case designed for your cues. Okay, so you have to think you got 9 pounds and you got 50 pounds to work with, right? So 9 pounds is automatically taken off of that 50 pounds, right? Now you're gonna add cues, okay? I'm gonna show you a little bit later on just how much you can add into the suitcase, but you gotta think that your cues are gonna add to the weight as well. On top of that, your clothes that you pack into it is gonna add weight. And hopefully you don't overpack to the point where you can't do any shopping, right? Because, you know, when we all go to Vegas and we play in the VNA tournament, you know, we all go to the outlet mall. So we buy, you know, sandals and shirts, at least I do. That's where I find the cheap products down there at the outlet malls, okay? So Pagulayan Cues, you did a good job on keeping this appropriate to the weight and the linear inches that are required to keep this not to be charged extra. One thing that I want to talk about here is advertising. I'll say one thing. Okay, so everyone knows I'm a J Flowers guy, right? Here's the 6x8 tactical. The one thing, well, one of the things that I'm not a biggest fan of with this case is the branding. Everywhere, there, and there, and there, and on the back of the straps. It's everywhere. So if you want to be inconspicuous, walking into a pool hall with a J Flowers tactical is probably not the best idea, okay? Now this is a different story. You've got Pagulayan here, you've got Pagulayan here, you've got Pagulayan on the zippers here, you've got it on the rubber handles, Pagulayan, but it's not obscene. It's, for the most part, black on black, right? It's very understated, which I appreciate. I'm putting my, you know, over $1,000 worth in cues into this case. I don't want to advertise that my cues are in this suitcase. I don't want to advertise. There are travel bags. I think it's the Cricle that I saw. It's got 8 balls and 9 balls over it. You know that this is a travel case that's holding cues. That's ridiculous. My suggestion to you is definitely do not advertise that your cues are being transported in this. Pagulayan, Alex Pagulayan, is a pretty famous pool player, but if you're not in pool circles, you're probably not gonna know the Pagulayan name, okay? So that's a good thing. I don't want people to know that my cues are in here. So thank you, Pagulayan Cues, for that. Let's talk about durability, okay? So I've been watching a lot of JB cases videos lately, and John Barton, who is an individual who's probably forgotten more about pool cue cases than I'll ever know about pool cue cases. I've learned a lot from him, right? And JB cases, they've got 4 pillars: true protection, true durability, true comfort, and true customization. So sorry, John, you yourself say that there are no consumer reports in the billiards industry. So I'm gonna steal those 4 pillars because out of respect, okay? So true customization, there is no customization, okay? This is the case. You don't ask Pagulayan Cues to potentially laser engrave anything on here. There's no sublimation that they can do for you. This is what you get, okay? True comfort, I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 5, okay? You can just tell how nicely this thing rolls. Like over time, we'll see how well these wheels last. But the ease of rolling it, like I don't even know if I would even use the telescopic handle, me being the height that I am, right? I just find it easier just to hold the handle when it's on the ground and wheel it like that. So when we're talking about true comfort for this, I think the majority of this case, the mainstay of this case is the fact that it has to be comfortable hauling this around, and it's very easy to haul this case around and very comfortable, okay? True durability. Well, we're gonna be talking about durability furthermore once I open up the case, okay? And true protection. Now, like I said, my wife said, well, why is it so flexible, right? I took this into Darcy's shop for his Friday night game where lots of pool players come there. They play pool there every Friday night. And they had a lot of interesting ideas on the flexibility of it, right? People expect this to be a hard case. And this is a hard case, but they're surprised by how flexible it is. If I jumped on this case, do I think that I could break it? I don't think I can break the shell. I honestly don't think I could break the shell. However, if it was zipped up like this, because the zipper is in the middle of the case, I think I could do serious damage to the zipper, right? Just because of the force. You got to imagine that the force of the zipper, just the pressure of it, I think I could break the zipper. I do. Like, I'm not worried about this. Do you see the flex here? I mean, these guys, luggage handlers, them whipping it. I've looked out of planes many times, them packing our suitcases, and yeah, I've seen a little bit of air from time to time, but for the most part, I mean, they're doing their best not to be jerks, right? These wheels, let's move on to the wheels. I've tried as hard as I want to try to yank these out, right? I've replaced wheels like this on office chairs many, many times. You can buy these at stores. They're replaceable. I don't think that these are replaceable. Like I've yanked on these things pretty hard, right? And they're not coming off. And I don't want to break this before I even go and get to travel with it, okay? I don't see any screws here. It looks like this plastic part is part of this. So this looks like one piece. So what I would ask Pagulayan Cues is maybe on the website, show an installation guide on potentially if one of these breaks, how we would fix that, okay? Because there is a limited warranty, but it's only manufacturer's defects, right? If this gets broken, wear and tear, how do we fix this? Okay, that's important. That being said, I really, really do appreciate that there's rubber on these wheels right here. I think that has a lot to do with, that could potentially really help with the durability of the wheel and also the shock absorption. Because rubber is obviously better for shock absorption than hard plastic. But in any event, let's open this bad boy up and see what we got going on in here, okay? So to open it up, you do have this TSA-approved key lock, okay? Now, it comes when you get your case at 000. That's how you unlock it, okay? It's not a secret how to get into it. It's already put on 000, and you've got a little latch here. The zippers lock in here. If you want to change that, very, very simple. The instructions to do that are on the inside, but I can tell you right now, there's a little hole there. You take a pen, you press the pen in, it clicks, okay? Then you set it to what you want for a code, and then you flick the dial over. And that will, you'll hear another click, and now your new code is the new code, okay? So, the zippers are off. What I would suggest also is when you're zipping it up, I always take care of my zippers. So, if you can see on the back side here, don't just take your zipper to here and then open it. Okay, you've got pressure on your zipper still. Take care of your zippers, take it all the way. It's a little thing, but it could help in the durability of your suitcase. Okay, and there it is. Now, you've got two sections that you're dealing with here. You've got your queue section and you've got your closed section with some pockets here. Okay, let's first of all talk about the queue section, all right? So you've got two straps here. Now on the website, it does say 2 to 4 queues. I will say that 2 to 4 queues probably is right. I don't know about 4 queues. It depends on the size, okay? And I'm gonna show you really quickly right here. Now, here's the thing. We've got the telescopic handle in here. I appreciate what they did here. They've got a zipper, okay? And you can open that up and you can see how they've mounted this telescopic handle, okay? So it's unfortunate that it only comes out that far. You can see it pin in right there, but we've got all this over here. The reason they have that is they've got that bolted in all the way into the shell over here. Okay, so this zipper being there, is it because potentially if you had to repair this, you want to get access and you don't want to destroy this? Or is it potentially you could even put some things in there? I don't know what I would put in there. Maybe if you're trying to hide something. Anyway, that's there. So the fact of the matter is, you may have a depth in here at about, let's say 4.5, But your pool cue case is gonna sit on this bar, okay? So really and truly, you've got maybe 3 inches, right? Because that's how much it's sticking up and you're losing. Now you're saying, well, why does that matter? Well, I'm gonna show you. So I'm gonna stick this big bad boy in there. And do you see how high it's sticking up from here? Now keep in mind, I don't have any clothes in here, okay? If I shut this, I'm gonna turn this around for you. Do you see how it's open? Okay, so I've really pushed the boundaries of this suitcase, okay? Can I get it shut? Absolutely. Okay, I've gotten this shut. In fact, I've stacked this suitcase full of clothes over here and I've shut it with the 6x8 tactical. It can be done. It can be done. And we're gonna talk about durability, well, a concern I have in a little bit about that, but it can be done. Most people don't have this obscene of a pool cue case. I have this because I like to carry extra shafts around. People want to test out the products that I have, so then I bring them to the pool hall, right? Most people have, you know, something like a 3x5, right? Whether it be a, you know, it could be a JB case, it could be a knockoff of a JB case, or it could be one of these cases from J Flowers. This is a 3x5 here. They say 2 to 4 cases. I don't know about 4, but I can put 2 very comfortably, okay? And they're actually below here, so no issues whatsoever closing that. Okay, there's 2 cases. I could tip them up. 1, 2, what do we got here? Let's do this. 3. There's no cues in this, so maybe I'm squishing it here. 4, they said 4. You get the idea, okay? You'd be helping your friends out by taking them across the border and traveling like that, but you're not helping yourself out because you're gonna be overweight, right? Can it be done? You're really pushing the boundaries. I would not put 4. 3, doable. 3 is doable. 4, maybe if you've got a 1x2. Maybe a 1x2 can fit in here, okay? But it does the trick, okay? It really does do the trick. The fact that the 2 straps are here and here makes sense for this section, okay? Most pool cue cases are going to be that long, obviously, because they have to hold the cues. When I went to Darcy's shop, he was very critical of this case in that he's a JB guy. And so JB cue cases, their thing is, their number 1 pillar is true protection, okay? So he's not worried about his cues because he already has a JB case. He knows they're going to be protected. So he literally had a flexible travel bag that he throws his cues in, and yeah, I'll bring some other people's cues. I don't care about it because I know my cues are protected. A lot of people don't have that. And a lot of people want to protect the outside of their case, especially. So this still is solving a problem. Moving on to the closed side. So on this side of the cue case, you've got 2 pockets, 2 mesh pockets, one big one, and then a medium-sized one. This piece of cardboard that comes with the case are the instructions on how to do the lock, but we've already gone over that. The zipper up here is the zipper that opens up this pocket, okay? So let's flip it over there. And I will say, these plastic latches that they've decided to use seem pretty high quality. There's nothing that's going to impact these things that's going to break them, that should break them, right? And when they're very, very firm, and when you, they literally explode out. So I appreciate that. I like to know when it's, you know what I mean? There are some of those latches where you click them and they just sticks there. I like it to explode open, okay? So if I undo this zipper, again, they're showing the ability to get at the shell. So I'm not sure why. There's nothing to ever really replace here, unless this nameplate on the other side, you want to replace it. It's got 4 clips here. I don't know why you'd ever want to do, but it's a good place to hide something. In any event, my first complaint. I find it funny that they chose this placement. Right there. Same thing on the other side. I would have thought that they would have moved it maybe here and here. Or keep this placement and have a third here, okay? I packed this with clothes and, you know, I just ended up putting my toiletry bag in the middle there, right? With my toothpaste and stuff like that. I'd appreciate a third strap here. Now, does it work? Absolutely. Absolutely it works. Here's my concern. Again, and I don't know the answer to this, okay? But this is something that I would watch out for. I'm always very weary of single stitching. On the inside here, the perimeter, this is nylon, okay? And it's it looks to me like it's single stitched. As far as I can tell, it's single stitched. So if I put my 6x8 tactical, or I push the boundaries and I put 3, let's say, butterfly cases or like 3x5s that I did in there, and it's sticking higher, and I've got close on the other side of this. When I close it, you saw it didn't close all the way, and I push down. Stress has to go somewhere, right? The stress is going to go all onto this single stitch. So over the course and life of this case, what's going to happen here? Is it going to tear stitches, or potentially is it going to tear the nylon, right? Once nylon starts tearing, I don't think there's any stopping the nylon from tearing. So that's a concern for me, okay? What I would suggest is when you're traveling, you need to concern weight anyway. So taking a 6x8 tactical is probably not the best thing anyway. In fact, I don't think I would take my tactical. I've got plenty of pool cue cases. I take a smaller pool cue case, all right? What I would do if you're really concerned about the longevity of this product is I would not stack pool cue cases higher than this zipper, right? It's fine. If you put any cue case, it's level with the zipper, you're good to go, because it's not, and there is a little bit of play here before you touch the nylon, okay? I wouldn't want to put any stress on this, on the nylon, okay? It's single stitched as far as I know. And once stitches and threads start coming out, that's when things start going. Same thing over here, right? There's no strap in the middle. So for the most part, I want to take the weight off of the other side of this nylon, this divider, okay? I want to protect this as long as I humanly can, right? So what I would be doing is, for the most part, and my wife has a really interesting way of packing. She'll lay everything out on the bed and then she'll roll it into a ball. And so all her shirts and all her pants they're rolled into balls. It actually saves space. And I think that might be the best way to pack in something like this because of where the straps are. I want to have these basically as tight as possible to make sure that the weight isn't dropping on this divider. This divider is the biggest question that I have on this suitcase. All right, let's finish up with my final thoughts here, okay? So my biggest concern with the cue case is that nylon divider, okay? If the nylon divider completely broke and you ripped it out, would it nullify the usage of this case? No, you've got some straps there. You can still strap things together. It's not a deal breaker, but it would be nice to have that nylon divider, right? So that's just a question that I have, okay? This is a well-made suitcase. I think it is. The wheels, like I mentioned before, these are higher quality wheels than I've seen on some office chairs. So that's nice. The rubber's nice. I just want a video potentially from Pagulayan Cues on how we could potentially fix it if it got messed up. One thing that I want to talk about here is it says on the website scratch resistant. So it's not scratch resistant, okay? The first thing that Darcy did when I went to his shop there that Friday, he whipped it on the ground. He was turning it around. I got scratches all over it, okay? It's not scratch, well, it's not scratch proof, okay? They're not saying it's scratch proof, okay? So don't get fooled. Over time, you're going to get wear and tear on anything. Anything that we buy, wear and tear is a thing, okay? Nothing's perfect, okay? What I will say is Darcy grabbed some industrial cleaner, and that's the heavy duty stuff. He went to town on it and he cleaned it, and you know, given it time now, you cannot tell. There's no discoloration or anything like that. So this is a really good material. This thing is well built. I think it's well built for what it is. Now, is it right for you? I can't answer that question for you. Okay, I've given you close-ups of everything that I'm seeing with the suitcase. I think it's a great idea. I do. Are you willing to spend that price for it though? Okay, everybody's different. You know, a lot of pool players will spend thousands on their pool cues. Others will spend $70 on the most basic of pool cues and be happy. So everyone's different. Does this give $561 worth of value? I think it does. Over the long haul, okay? If you're having to check more than one suitcase, well, and you do a lot of traveling, that pays for itself pretty quickly, doesn't it? So everyone's different. Everybody has to weigh it differently. I don't tell you what's right for you. I'm just giving you what I'm seeing here, okay? So I hope what I did here helps you. Thank you again, Pagulayan Cues, for sending me this case. Will I be using this in the near future? In fact, I shall be. So thank you again for sending it to me. And thank you for being cool to work with, because there was absolutely no pressure from you guys to say certain things. So thank you very much. In the meantime and in between time, I'm going to catch you on the flip side. Peace.